Gemini, welcome back for your soulmate energy reading. I pulled out Earth, Air, Fire, Water, dependent upon what element your actual soulmate energy is that you're inquiring about. It can be that you're with them or you're not, and the energies can jump back and forward. If you are needing a booking during the silly season, the link is below. Those of you who are new, a very warm welcome. And my tribe, hello again. Okay, I'd like to also wish you guys a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Please keep yourself safe. And we'll tune into the frequency. Okay. I haven't looked at the cards yet. I have briefly looked down, but the frequency I'm feeling with you, especially due to the fact that we've had the whole year retrograde, we went through that assessment stage during the Venus cycle. I feel this tense energy, and I feel, especially with the first card coming through for you, it may be an aspect of movement for you. There can be a lot of things going on for you personally at a 3D level, moving into the month of December. Also be mindful that moving into January, we are going to experience a solar eclipse. So that is going to set the frequency of a pathway and a way in which you're going to be directly connecting your energy. In a 6-month cycle, so especially during the Venus retrograde, our intents were directly set with the clarity that we got. Now, not necessarily did we get the clarity directly connected to our soulmate. A lot of it might have come due to behavior patterns and making assessments and then falling into that truthful frequency away from the ego of how we directly felt connected to them. I do feel for you guys, you can have a lot of things coming at left field, and I'm also seeing travel for some reason. So that can be a direct message for one or two of you, but I am seeing like actual 3D movement. It can be towards your soulmate or traveling for family during the silly season. Again, if you are needing a booking, an emergency one, I'm still going to be available and my presence will still be on YouTube. So if you are new, I do live sessions regularly. So jump through and you can be part of it to get the support, you know, moving into the new year. But definitely for you guys, I do feel that you're moving somewhere. Now, this is connected to, I feel, your soulmate. Some of it might be also external influences that are impacting you, either your employment, your family, 3D related dynamics where you can't break free. But I am feeling still a very deep spiritual connection connected to this person. But you're very much through the Venus kind of aspect of the retrograde. The clarity that has come through to you is what your standards are. And it may be you've realised they were a bit too low and you're looking at things very differently now in the way that you're applying yourself in your life. You're also wanting this person to raise their standards as well. For many of you, you may not physically be with this person. And some of you might be moving away from one situation and into another. Doesn't have to be a direct person. It can also be in general in your life. You're moving away from a way of doing things, a way of dealing with things, especially with raising your standards and your vibration. And again, physical activity is really going to be key to keep you grounded, but I'm seeing moon energy coming through. So some of you might actually be getting downloads of the full moon, or it is a secondary message, which is connected to love coming through of the lunar eclipse in January. Now, it may be you're taking time off work and you're not too fussed about the aspect of finances. Some of you might be looking directly at that quite harshly and it might be impacting the spiritual connection. But again, you're not letting go. You're still moving through it to a point where you know, you're trying to make the best of the situation. Be careful with your spending as well, especially on romantic partners, especially connected to the financial flow. So it's like it's saying, be cautious with the way you're doing things, and it might be due to a ticket that you're purchasing, or you're going to travel to family, etc. And gifts, like try and keep that balanced, especially if you've got a bigger picture in mind. To connect or travel towards this person. Try and take that into consideration because it is to a foreign place and you are entering into a foreign frequency, I'm hearing, when it comes to connecting in with this person. Now, I'll jump back to your part of the read, but I'll look into the other elements that you might be dealing with depending upon who your soulmate energy is. Now, when it comes to the earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, I feel they've actually, two things. It's either they physically are still healing in some shape or form, connected to the connection, or they feel you're doing that. So again, energies can bounce back and forth, but there's an aspect of healing or having completed it or not completed it. But it's like healing is really at the heart of the matter. They're also becoming more practical, and it is very 3D energy of what's directly in front of me, what can I deal with, how can I look at this situation. It's very practical energy. If there's been hurt between the both of you, they're not willing to take the fall. They're not willing to jump in the deep end. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some ways in which you directly communicate with each other or relate to each other. But this can be very separate to you, directly in their life and their frequency, the way it is. They also may have experienced loss in their life. And when I'm saying that, it feels more recent than not for those of you who this is relevant, relating to. But they're moved past a certain point. I do feel they're under the weather because I'm actually coughing. But their heart chakra as well, they feel they're in the hanged man position to a degree. Something's out of their control. It may be more in your ball court than theirs, and you might be in the same predicament at an emotional level where you're wanting to get together, but 3D situations are pulling you apart. Again, due to Christmas and New Year's and scheduling, so to speak. So it feels there's an inability to do certain things on a 3D level at the moment. I'll pull a clarifier because a lot of the transformations are coming in towards the end of this year. Now that can be in a shape or form that, how do I put it? Some of these cycles are transforming prior. There you go. Others of them, they're thinking, let's do it the right way. That's for earth signs. Let's get through this silly season. Let's get everything, all of our loose ends tied up and then do such. Now, it might be their mindset. Doesn't necessarily mean that, that they won't do what they need to do. It may shape up sooner than they actually intended. However, where they do have control and power in the situation, they're going to try and remove the obstacles and deal with them directly, correctly, to prevent an aspect of a tower moment. Now, when it comes to the air signs, that's Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. They might be very reserved and closed off at the moment. It might be they're not saying anything as to how they're really feeling, and they're sending very mixed signals. And this can go both ways. It doesn't have to be, it can be the way you're looking at them or they're looking at you. But there's an energy and a frequency of not communicating correctly. Maybe holding some things on their chest, but I don't feel it's at a negative phase. I feel it's at a respectful phase due to perhaps something you're directly going through. So if your schedule's hectic and you're not able to be there with them as much as you'd like, for those of you who are partnered, they're understanding and having compassion connected to that. Others of you who have not directly got to your soulmate energy, that is an air sign, there's no harsh feelings connected to the dynamic of what's going on. It is what it is, I'm hearing. It's a real growing energy where they're taking accountability for their frequency and understanding and having compassion about what's going on with you. They might be grinding their teeth, like the cat is, but they're like, you know, this used to be me, but this is me now. So you might get mixed signals with them, but it's not a, how would I put it? It's a legitimate way in which they have transformed. It's not a fake facade or a fake mask. And again, they have controlled the energy within them where they're saying, hey, things happen, we do our very best. You know, their frequency is really transforming and understanding this factor, but they're not cross at you. Any old patterns are really falling away, and any ill feelings are really falling away as well. And December is very much tying up of loose ends connected to the karmic energy. If you're dealing with a fire sign, okay, they haven't detached from you. They feel very deeply about you. But again, as I've mentioned in previous readings, fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, have really undergone a mass transformation this year, and a lot of their frequency is very humbled. That's really the first energy I feel with fire signs is humbled. Earth signs, I would say humbled as well, but really shell-shocked. They've had their egos have been directly impacted and affected, and through that they're wanting to do things the right way. Air signs have more transformed in the self of being very rational, not as scale-like energy or emotional at times, yes, but the purging they've done has really helped transform them. Water signs have really become very practical. So with the fire signs, they've been humbled. Now, with the fire signs, they're not controlling this any longer. And it might have been, it can go both ways again, but there's an aspect where it's more balanced, it's more practical, it's a fatigued energy. So if you're relating to a fire sign and you're a bit confused by their frequency, it's due to the fact that they're incredibly fatigued. Internally, they have undergone a transformation. Externally, you may not see such, like completely, but it has happened. And moving closer to the last 2 weeks, they're more going to be at a different stage where they feel this connection's very deep. They're wanting peace. But some of that they're still leaving behind. Some of you may have, this connection is very, very deep. But they do know that it is time to transform and to have that new beginning and to do this transformation. So a lot of them are very much looking at it from the perspective of, wow, okay, what was my part? What was your part? How do we directly relate to each other in a connection or out of the connection? And where are we going to go from here? They're looking at their financial domain very differently as well. It's not so much they are defined by that aspect, that they're understanding due to the fatigue, hey, is this actually really worth my energy? You know, all work, no play. It's like that has really transformed within them. Water signs. Now, they may be in meditation, but this frequency directly connecting to you personally, Gemini, is really changing. However you're relating to them, again, they're being affected by the moon, which is quite natural within the water element. But again, there is this reflective energy going on where they're seeing how you relate, how they relate, where they're accountable, where you're accountable. But it's really a lot of energy on them at the moment where they're saying, gee, I'm seeing this thing in the mirror. And again, it can be your energy. But within this connection, there's reflection going on nevertheless. And it's like some of it they feel is out of their control. Others of it they feel they're going with the flow due to external circumstances. They are becoming more stable, but they're reflective and in hermit mode. So even if they're directly with you, maybe they're a bit more quiet at the moment. But they're wanting to be alone to meditate upon what to do from here. So some of you, and this could be a very individual message, might have had a lot of conflict where the communication has been out of sort, but that's balancing. It's not really about you. It was more 3D situations happening in their life, added to this situation, and then going through a purge, and it was just a little bit too much. But they're not looking outside of themselves any longer. They're really looking inside, which water signs can be very nostalgic and reflective, concerned of the future, concerned of the past. But that really within them has transformed to a place where what they have in front of them is like, and they're used to dealing with the energy in that way, but it's more, okay, this is what I've got in front of me. That didn't work. This does. Now I'm tired. Now I need to do the internal reflection because they're making a major decision. They're very tired though. Some of them may have experienced loss during the year, and it doesn't have to be at a physical like 3D level where it's a person passing, but it can be old energy connected to that. But definitely their transformation has been a death of the ego, and it has been fatiguing. They've had to leave some things behind at an emotional level. I'll try and do mid-months again. But at the moment, I feel you're in a pause situation. You might be dealing with the external conflicts, making an assessment connected to your soulmate. But, you know, stay cautious when it comes to mass movement. If you are, take accountability and take account for the financial flow of it. You may not need to let go of certain aspects in order to have this. It may be more a gradual stage instead of an all or nothing stage. And especially with what we've learnt this year, in relation to how can we keep the balance and what's going to be the best medium to handle this situation. I think you're looking at it from a more practical, realistic way. You are very fatigued as well, and there's still lots going on with you guys, so try and keep grounded. You know, you're not really fussed about the financial flow, but I think finances are definitely going to boom, you know, after the fact. The work you do, there's going to be an outcome. Some of you might be having contract work as well. But your standards are, it can be you're really focused on your career, but you're meditating upon love. You're like, just the last thing, let's get that right, sort of thing. But you're very focused. You know who you love, regardless of what's transpired, but you're trying to focus, and you can be rewriting the story and going over old ground of what's transpired. But I'll leave it at that, and I'll see you mid-month. And if you're needing a booking, as I said, link below.